The dark night of the soul is like an initiation for light workers. It is the death of the old self and the embracing of the true self. Watch this video. Many of us are being born nowadays or waking up to this deep urgency, of purpose. What's my purpose? I'm here to do something big. I don't know what it is, but I just need to find my purpose. It's like this crazy need to align with what you're here to do. And there's a reason for it, because you are here for a global mission. This mission goes beyond what our minds can conceptualize at a young age. So a lot of times we misinterpret this as meaning I'm supposed to be famous or invent something huge. I know it's a big thing. And as we go on our process, we start to realize, and I can tell you from personal experience, it's not about being bigger than life. It's not about being famous, known or unknown. Either way, it's about serving the world. It's about coming into your heart-centered leadership. It's about either being really passionate about human rights, animal rights, activism, helping other people enlighten and awaken to their truth. All of our purposes, if you're feeling this, are to raise the vibration of this world and to help bring all the dark into the light. So, before we are able to do this type of work, many of us, not all of us, but many of us, and you probably find my work around this time when you're going through this phase of what I call the dark night of the soul. Many of us emerge as wounded healers because we have to go through reclaiming the parts of ourselves we've put into the dark, the shadow. We do this because society creates this in the conditioning, and we grow up learning that we have limitations that are unacceptable. There are parts of ourselves that are not enough. There are parts of ourselves that don't get us loved by a parent or someone that really matters to us. And we start to disengage from our own source within us and start to align with something out there. But the reason we do that is to make up for this part we have deemed as not enough. So we put this part of ourselves, and all of us have it, into the shadow, and we claim that as the part of ourselves that we refuse to claim. And that is now the part that makes up for, or let's say the Band-Aid of this symptom of not enoughness. So it's out there. And what happens in the dark night of the soul is an external event or an internal experience, whether it be a personal health tragedy or the loss of someone you love, or the huge breakup of a relationship, or the devastation of a career no longer being for you. All of these things are just where we've put our power, what we've used as the Band-Aid, and these things will be taken, and they will end, and they will happen, so that we can break back open into our heart, into that pain, into that place that we've had a deep misinterpretation about ourselves, an identification that is not truth. And the reason that we have to look at this with extreme courage and look at the place that we fear most, because if we have this, it means we're not going to survive, we're not going to be loved, we're not going to be enough, God forbid, right? But we're being asked to disengage from a societal view, disengage from an external power, and re-engage with the power that we've always been, the light that we truly are. We look at these parts of ourselves, which create great fear. Because if I look at this part of myself and it's not enough, then that means it was true. Then it means that I can't survive. Then it means I'm dependent. Then it means there's something wrong with me. Whatever the thing was for you. If I look at that, it brings up fear. And I'm encouraging everyone in the dark night of the soul to look at these parts that scare you. And these emotions are going to come up and it's going to be really scary. So don't do it alone if it feels like too much. But until we get real about how we feel, we cannot heal. We cannot step into our soul-centered work. We cannot align with the divine because there's a part of ourself that's still not willing to shine. That's so funny that it just rhymed, but it's true. it's wanting to be in that place where it can't be seen because it can't be hurt because it can't be touched. And I want you to touch it, and I want you to embrace it, and I want you to look at it and say, what about this part do I believe is not worthy? What about this part do I still agree with people out there rather than the God that created me that said I'm made completely perfect for my purpose? You see, it's about disengaging from this external, societal, false God, or a person that was a false authority, or a perspective or measure or ideal that's a created thing, and to re-engage with the real, all parts of you that are real. When we do that, when we're getting real about how we feel, we begin to heal back into alignment with something higher that created us, our source. We begin to awaken to this wise guide inside. As you go deep into these healings and re-embracing the parts of yourself that are in the dark so that you can become more light, we start to realize all the misinterpretations we've had about it that we've bought into because someone out there said it. And instead we start really feeling it and aligning with this perspective that says, you're perfect, you're the light, you're here to do beautiful work. I wouldn't have made you as a mistake. Society wants you to think that so you don't come into your extreme power as a light worker. So this is the process of the dark night of the soul, where we are dying in our old identification and we are emerging into our true self, our truth. This was the hardest part of my journey because I felt like there was no one there to help, no one there to understand. I felt like everyone that I had sort of set up as my support was what was being taken or what was no longer working for me. And so I was really forced to support myself. I was forced to surrender to some other support that I couldn't see but I'd always felt. This is the most frustrating and scary part of this journey, but there's a huge purpose to it. Until you can navigate your own darkness with your own flame and come back up still lit and learn how to consistently stay lit and learn how to completely rely and trust on the light rather than buying into the dark and going into your externals or going into your false selves or going into this. Until you can learn how to navigate that, you can't hold a bigger space for others. You won't wake up to this bigger pain that so many other people are experiencing to ignite your purpose. When you come back up and you're totally lit and you're totally shiny, you start to attract your bigger purpose, your soul tribe, your alignment with soul. By the way, if you or someone you know is having a hard time navigating this part of the journey, I created Soul Lab, I think it's there, it's definitely below, for you to clear out these misinterpretations, these limiting beliefs, these negative emotions, and embrace this part of yourself to align with your soul. That's what we're all here to do. So it's about letting go of this societal power and ideal and aligning with this inner truth that's connected to your bigger purpose, the thing you've always been craving. And once that happens, you'll understand that that peace that you got to feel, whether it be big or small, is a part of the collective. It's a part of the collective that you came here to serve. But until you serve it within yourself, you won't understand how to navigate and connect with it outside of you. And if you do, you still might not feel that extreme, what I call the authentic thread, the thing that connects you in a bigger way that you've always been searching for. So the initiation into your light work is to go into your shadow and bring it all into your integration so that it's no longer hiding, it's no longer dimming you, but it can be the light. It's not always an easy path. In fact, it's usually scary. But once as you emerge into your true self, it's interesting how you'll see, for me, my personal experience was really emerging as this wounded healer and experiencing and sharing this alternative perspective that I've always had that was totally misunderstood. And when I started understanding it myself and tapping into it myself, I realized that I had it for a reason, because other people relate to it. And when you start to share your authentic truth, you start relating in an authentic thread. You start feeling not alone. You start feeling not cut off or separate, but you start realizing that we are all one. And when you start to feel that oneness, you get driven by that feeling. So you guys, this is not happening to you, it's happening for you. It actually has to happen. It doesn't have to be tragic, but it will be a shift. It will be a shedding, and it will be an enlightening for your own journey. I hope you share this video with anyone who possibly needs it. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Namaste.